experience. You know, when I was younger, I can't remember who said this to me, but someone in my family say, "Oh, you gonna end up with a white man." And I was like,
my mom thought that. I thought I was gonna end up with a white girl.
Yeah.
Or a white man.
Yeah, that's a choice to say to a young black person that you think that they're going to end up with a white person. Because for me, I think that it like questions
your blackness.
Yes. And we have a problem. Black people in general have a problem with questioning other black people's blackness. Well, first of all, we need to cut it out. But second of all, it is not advantageous to like to encourage someone to date someone of another race because you don't think that they're black enough according to your standards. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I exist, right, that means that there's probably someone who is like me that exists. You could at least say I'm gonna date Carlton. You could at least say that. Why he had to be a white man? Why couldn't he just be a Oreo or something?
Because what's good, everybody? It's your boy Brandon, and I am joined once again by my stupendous partner and co-host.
Hey y'all, it's Ciandra. Thank you. I feel like kindergartners are welcoming me into the podcast.
You know you lit when the kids is lit for you. You know you up.
Trick Daddy love the kids.
Yeah, you do.
All right, we ready to get started?
We are ready.
Oh, we didn't even do our intro. I'm tripping.
I feel like they should know us by now.
No, we need to do an intro. So y'all, we started.
Hold up. First and foremost, if y'all watching us on YouTube, like, subscribe, put that notification bell on because it really does help us get seen to a wider audience. Also, leave a comment, and especially if you're listening to us on wherever you're listening to us on, feel free to do the same thing. Like, put a comment and follow.
Please
and thank you.
And thank you. We started this podcast so we could talk about the questions that we have asked and continue to ask since we started dating. You can expect for our conversations to be real, raw, and sometimes spicy. Muy caliente, fuego, fuego, fuego. Mm-hmm. Our topics will range. They'll be lighthearted and comical, and sometimes they'll be a little deep. So thank you for listening and joining in with us.
Yeah, and come eat. Let's eat.
Mm-hmm.
All right, babe. So what are we talking about today?
So we're gonna start off with the first plate, a little amuse-bouche from a YouTube page that Brandon follows, and I've had the opportunity to watch a couple of videos from. It's called We Need to Talk.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to We Need to Talk.
Yes, definitely a huge shout out to them. They do like an interview conversation style where the person who's being interviewed is the only person on camera. Kind of set up like a Vlad TV interview. It's like the closest comparison that I can think of. But they take regular folks from regular walks of life and ask them questions kind of about their background and their life story and things that have contributed to their outlook on dating at this particular point. And so one of the ones that we watched here recently features a young lady who the tag is like peace was boring, and she offers a little bit about her perspective on dating. And so hopefully I will be able to play this.
But my friends who were white and I was very influenced by, they talked about marriage a lot. Talked about, oh, what am I going to do when I get married and have kids? And this is what I want, the kind of guy I want, kind of lifestyle. And I thought that was what I wanted exactly because it seemed, it was different from what I had, single mom with, my mom being a single mom of 3. And I'm the only female, had no dad in my life. And most of my friends had a dad. I wanted my dad in my life. So I was like, if I have kids, I want my kids to have their dad in their lives. And most of the black families I knew didn't. So this is one of the reasons why I was so attracted to white guys. Then growing up and, getting out of where I was before.
So I will stop it there. Again, the name of the YouTube page is We Need to Talk, and the name of this episode is Hot Topic. My dad didn't want me, so I divested. And I guess we should start with, let's tell them what divested means, because I feel like they may not all know, because I didn't even know at what point in my life.
I think I had told you about it. Like we only hear about, you know, the black man who date outside the race, specifically white women, but it's everybody but black women, and that's all we know about. But there is a movement out here. It's called the divestment movement, where women are saying, "Hey, get out now, and go to another race." Whether that be a white man and Latino man or whatever. But I think in this context, it's mostly like white men in which they're talking about. And, you know, I wouldn't say a large movement, but it is a movement that is being touted, or like I'm hearing more about online and like YouTube and Reddit and things like that. There's whole forums and things that's dedicated to it. They got their own little buzzwords where they can like kind of talk about the topic without being like, fuck black men. So that's it. If you want to know more, Google it or whatever it may be.
Yeah. So thank you for providing that context, because I think if you don't know what that means, divested doesn't mean anything to you when you read it in the title. But I guess back to the clip, what was your immediate reaction?
Well, this reading off the topic, I already came in with like if I was just looking at the title, I was already came in with a preconceived notion, which I think that's the whole point of having a title, is to give you the hook. So I came in, but then when I heard her like break down like where she was coming from, like I understood, because I thought I thought something similar in the sense of like marriage. Like all my white friends, they families together, like their mom and dad together. They seem to be having like a good relationship. They got shit. So, and then I didn't see that on my side. It didn't turn me off of black women or just black people in general, but like I can see how she got there. So I didn't really, I guess the question is, what did I think about what she said? Unfortunately, there's some truth to it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of truth to it, in the sense of just like you don't see that type of lifestyle in the black community as often. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, because we all know it exists, but it's definitely not the thing that you see. That's
most
not
often.
Most often. And most black families are from single parent households, moms specifically. So we do know like the numbers is not there, but we do know that there are two family households from black families, but we don't really see too much of that, at least not in the past. Now we're starting to see more of it, because we know that we are, they're creating more of that. But growing up, all you saw was like two parent households from white people, even whether the family was healthy or good or not. There's always a mom and a dad. And if it's only a single parent, it had to be on some like tragedy, like somebody died. So I could see where she was coming from.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that as well. And I can also see that from a child's mind, right? If you're a kid looking at it and you're trying to make a decision about how you're going to get the thing that you want, you're going to be like, oh, the thing that I want is this. The people who have it are these people. I should get with one of these people in order to see this happen. But I think the thing that is, and I guess it's a part of like just who your peers are and who you spend time around. But like, I definitely grew up in an environment and went to school with people who were diverse, but I still had black friends. Like the majority of my friends were black, and my black friends wanted to be married. I don't have any like black female friends that don't aspire to marriage, or don't see that as something that is worthwhile, regardless of their family of origin status. So even if their parents have been married in the past and are now divorced, their parents remarried, if they were from a single parent household, parents were divorced, a parent who passed, like a lot of different like family of origin kind of structure, but all of them had the desire and still have the desire to be married. And so I think that is a place where I found some conflict in what she was saying, or like just some difference in experience of like the black women that I know want to be married too. And we talked about our husbands in college, and we talked about, what our life would look like once we got our husbands and once we had kids and things like that. And so I think more so than anything, this clip is a reminder to me of like the value of having your own like having people that are your own, that have similar backgrounds to you, similar world views as you, but also look like you, right? Because if I think that it can only happen for white women because I only see it happening for white women, of course your kid mind is going to think that this is the way that it is possible.
Right.
But I grew up around diverse people who were black, white, Asian, and my core group remained black people, black women specifically, and all of us aspired to marriage. Like, I don't know any close friendship that I had where the woman didn't aspire to marriage, regardless of what her family of origin situation was. So I think that is the only thing where I'm like, it might have been a proximity thing as well.
Oh, absolutely. I think for her, it was the proximity thing. I don't mean to cut you off.
That was it.
Oh, that's it. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure you reached the natural ending of what you were trying to say. But yeah, I do agree that it's definitely a proximity thing, because listening to your experience, I'm thinking about me growing up in Florida, and the town I was, like, the schools I went to were, the city technically is still segregated from olden times. South side still black side, low key, and then north side is pretty much where all the white people were. The only way, and then we had the assigned schools, and we had school choice, so you can kind of choose where you go, but we still mostly just went to where you were assigned. The only way out of that was like if you were going to like a magnet school for like, so you had to like study your way out. And luckily for me, I was always pretty good at, with school and getting good grades, so I was able to get into those magnet programs. And those magnet programs, like, it was mostly white people. So me growing up, like, I've been to magnet school since I was in middle school. So ever since through middle school, through high school, so I was surrounded by mostly like white people, and not just white people, but like white people who had like with money. So like that's what I saw. That was like most of my experience, and just Florida in general. Reach a certain level, it's like, I think Jay-Z said, like, it's like dominoes. The higher you go, the less black you see. So I grew up like surrounded by nothing but successful white people, at least to my eyes. And then like the black people I saw, I didn't really interact with them because we didn't have any of the same classes. I wasn't really so I didn't have many friends of those, because my friends were mostly people who were in class with me, people I saw every day. So it wasn't until I moved from there to like DC, where it was like a lot of black people and a lot of affluent black people, that I was like, oh shit. But I do think that proximity influences our thinking, because I've had conversations with people who grew up in the DMV, and how they speak about like education and stuff, that is completely different. They kind of are surprised when like that's not true for all black people. You know what I mean? So like what you were saying is like, you grew up mostly black people, everybody wanted to be married, everybody was from, like, that's not my experience at all. For me, it was like, if you spoke well, if you could read, like if your stomach didn't drop to your feet when it came the day of reading out, like having to read out loud in class, and you can do it well, you doing well in classes, you getting good grades, you white. So that's the experience I'm coming from. I came through, and it wasn't until I got out of that I was like, yo, this isn't how it should be. So that's why I kind of understood where she was coming from, because I was like, okay, I've been in that situation where I was like, it looked like everything good was white people shit, and then everything bad and brokenness was like black people shit. And I didn't want broken people shit, so I was like, well, I guess I gotta go over here.
I definitely hear that, and I think hearing you speak, I have had the benefit of like, probably all of my friends are the friends when you meet your cousins, or like your cousins who don't go to school with you or don't have the same opportunities as you. They're like, why you talk white?
Yeah,
all of my friends are those people for their family. Like, when I think of them and like the experiences that they've had, like even friends who like have moved to different places, or like prior to being in college had a majority of white friends, I think that probably is a part of their experience as well as the fact of the place that I grew up is a place that is full of affluent black people.
It is.
And
PG
so
County.
everyone thinks, or like everyone around me had 2-parent household, like lived in a nice house, got a car for their 16th birthday. Like they were pretty affluent and like lived fairly well. And so I think that it was normative to me at that point.
Yeah, for me, I didn't got hit with the, you talk white, why you talk like that? I didn't get hit that like a lot of times. Like I remember the first week of high school, they hit me. I was like, the fuck? Like, and now I felt like I got to prove my blackness to these people. Growing up, like pretty much all the friends I had, single parent households, like the the ones who didn't were either white, they from an interracial relationship that black and white mix. Even if the relationship is not like they were divorced, but they were still like co-parenting well. And like it took me until I'm trying to think like through all of the real friendships I had, at least to my knowledge, growing up, high school, when I met like my first black friend who had both of his parents in his life, and we still friends to this day. Shout out Eric, what up? But it's so rare, and I grew up thinking that I was a rarity, which is true. Like I had both of my parents, and I never really thought about how unusual that was, like in real life, I guess, outside of just like I know that I have both of my parents and a lot of people don't, but I didn't realize like how outside of the norm that was until I got older, and I was like, oh shit, like I'm kind of lucky, I guess.
Yeah. And I think to the point of like having both of your parents having an impact, that's something else that I think that she mentioned in this video of like all of her white friends grew up,
had both their
parents, and she grew up in a household where she didn't have both of her parents, and she felt in a lot of ways like abandoned by her dad, and it sounded like she wanted to break that generational curse and like not have that be something that was carried over into her family. And so it felt like, again, from a child's perspective, the securest decision was to date a white man. And again, with proximity, those were probably the majority of men that she had access to or saw regularly because
right. I mean,
she was in those environments.
From her, I'm inferring a lot here. If I'm seeing like from a kid's perspective, it's like, at least I think she mentioned like her dad didn't want her. Like, I think she knows like who her dad was, but she just like, she thought he didn't want her. And I think she mentioned like when she met him later in life, he didn't know who the fuck she was. He didn't know she existed. So that kind of fucked up a little bit. Not in the sense of like, I think like the information that he had a kid was hidden from him. That's what I'm pulling from it. But from a kid's perspective, I'm seeing like, oh, my dad doesn't want me. I'm seeing these white kids, their dads in there, which means the dads must want their kids. Ergo, black men don't want their kids. White men want their kids. I want a man who wants their kids, so I need to go with a white man.
Yeah, and it makes logical sense to a kid, and it definitely would be. It would have served her at that point in her life. I will say later in the video, she gets away from that and talks about why she's okay with dating black men now. But I think just for the purpose of that clip and like thinking about our topic for the day, there is a place where something like that makes sense to you because of your kid brain, whether it be based off of like trauma, your experiences, a desire that you have for yourself and wanting to see that desire be met. There's a place where it makes sense for you and it clicks for you.
Yeah. So I guess the topic is like interracial dating and stuff like that. Perfect. Cause I felt where she was coming from.
Oh, so
yeah.
Tell me, wait.
I felt where she coming from. I understand like how she got there.
Yeah, no, I understand that too, but I also understand the error in that thinking. I also
absolutely.
understand how it's oversimplified.
Yes,
and how it served her child brain, but does not serve her adult brain, and may not even lead to the results that she wants.
It didn't sound.
If you didn't do all the stuff that you needed to do to be the type of person who could be in a relationship with someone,
ain't gonna want you either.
He ain't gonna do that for you. He's not gonna stay for the foolishness. Like that's not how it works.
That's big facts. In fact, that's big facts.
Yeah. So I get where her child brain made that connection correlation and thought that was correct, but I also know that won't serve her in adulthood. And I think, to speaking about interracial dating and speaking about our experiences as kids and like being the kid who was, like, oh, you talk white or you're different. How did that have an impact on your either desire to interracially date or your perspective on like who would be available to you in the dating marketplace?
It severely impacted it. It felt like a chore to talk to black people, to interact with them in that way. And also I wasn't getting no kind of play from black women. It just wasn't a thing. But I recognize that's just proximity. I wasn't around them enough. I was around like white people and Asians and some Latinos and stuff like that. So that was my dating pool. Like I was going for who like me. So and they were showing your boy some love. So I was like, I ain't got no problem with you. Let's get it. But I also can recognize that because I got that type of I got that from black people. Like, you talk white, it kind of pushed me out from it a little bit. Like, I didn't really want to engage. It's like, if this is what it's going to be like, fuck it. What up, and keep it moving. I'm not really clocking for that. But that didn't serve me either. It was just white girls just got the same. I wouldn't say the same, but they got their fucking problems too. There's no better out here, race wise. It's just a different type of bullshit. It's just a different type of bullshit. So, but I wasn't happy, doing. I was dating. I was, having fun and things of that nature. But I wasn't like better off for it, So, but at the same time, I haven't necessarily never had any bad experiences in interracial dating either. So, so I'm not saying like don't do it. I'm saying I didn't have any. But as I got older, it became more and more important for me to have somebody that like understood like my life, or understood like I wouldn't say like the culture, but just like my experience, understood like the black experience, especially when like over the last few years with all this civil unrest with black people. I was like, I don't really want to have to fucking defend my views on X, Y, and Z, or have to explain why as a black man, like I'm fucking, my stomach drops when I see a cop get behind me, even if they're not trying to pull me over or anything like that. I don't want to have to explain that to somebody who's not black, and I constantly happen to do that. And I was like, nah. So it became more important for me to have somebody who looked like me. Well, I don't want you to look like me, but somebody who was black.
I know, twin.
No.
I hear that, babe. I share in that experience. When I was younger, I can't remember who said this to me, but someone in my family say, "Oh, you gonna end up with a white man." And I was like,
my mom thought that. I thought I was going to end up with a white girl.
Yeah.
Oh, a white man.
Yeah, that's a choice to say to a young black person that you think that they're going to end up with a white person. Because for me, I think that it like questions
your blackness.
Yes. And we have a problem. Black people in general have a problem with questioning other black people's blackness. Well, first of all, we need to cut it out. But second of all, it is not advantageous to encourage someone to date someone of another race because you don't think that they're black enough according to your standards. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I exist, right, that means that there's probably someone who is like me that exists. You could at least say I'm gonna date Carlton. You could at least say that. Why he had to be a white man? Why couldn't he just be a Oreo or something?
Because nerdy and blackness don't go together. They don't. Nerdy equals black or equals white. So like the nerdy black people, they get clowned by black people. Like, black people got a problem with ostracizing people who don't meet the stereotypical black personality type, I guess.
We be doing them dirty.
And sexuality. Boy, we quit call shit gay around this motherfucker.
Doing people dirty.
Big dirty.
Big dirty. But yeah, I will that my experiences interracially dating were when I was much younger. And I also
Nothing. No, I'm just thinking about it, just do little inside jokes. I was like,
What? How you like white bread?
I do.
That?
Make good PB&J sandwiches. But go ahead, tell us.
He like white bread like he like white women, y'all.
Yeah, she's secretly white. She's black. This is blackface. Reveal, big reveal, big reveal.
You don't even know which one. I
have nothing
exactly. Here. People haven't seen the kinks and the coils and the curls. Y'all know I'm black.
She's Rachel Dolezal Part 2. The new and improved. She studied Rachel. She knew everything she did wrong and she corrected herself. She did.
First of all, people have peeped the tan. You see this glowing brown skin? You know what's up. Anyway, as I was saying, I also have dated interracially before, and it wasn't a negative experience, but I think we were too young. We were like 16, 17 for it to like have any I guess like have any bearings on what she was saying of like, oh, I want to have a family with this person, or like this person will be a good match for me, X, Y, and Z reasons. And I never had any of the more negative undertones that people have when it comes to interracial dating of like, oh, my baby gonna have good hair, or like none of those kind of desires were fueling my interest in this person. I was genuinely interested in this person, and they were showing me attention at a time where, like you said, like you date who likes you at that point. You like me, I can find a reason to like you.
Hey.
Let's do what we can do while we're together. But I do think that as I grew in my consciousness as a Black person and like started to think more in depth about what type of life I wanted and what type of family I wanted to raise, and how the man in my life will have such a big impact on that, I knew that I wanted to be with a Black man more so than I wanted to be with any other man walking the face of the earth.
It's a strong statement.
The truth is the truth.
Hey, it is what it is. I ain't mad at it.
And also there's so many different flavors of Black men, which is the other thing where I was like, why would I need to go outside of this? Because the diaspora is huge. Like, I could date a Black man from an island. I could date a Black man from the continent of Africa. I could date a British Black man. I could date a Parisian Black man.
We everywhere. Black people is everywhere.
Black people are literally everywhere. I could date a Black man from the American South. I can date a Black man from the West Coast. Like, there's so many different types of Black men.
And skin tones.
And different skin tones of Black men. And mixtures of Black men.
We got redheaded Black men.
Exactly. Anything that you want, you could find in a Black man. And so why would I say to myself that like this isn't good enough for me, or like this will make me feel limited? If I say that I want a Black man, that's so limited. Like, I'm not going to have that many options. No, it's millions of options. You get your little mixed boy if you want. Get your little Drake.
That's sure. All you need is a drop.
All you need is a drop. Shit, Drake's son, he's still a Black man, kinda, sorta. A quarter of a Black man, sort of.
I can't.
And he got blonde hair and blue eyes.
Yeah.
He better not say the N-word though. I'm not gonna hold you.
He can't say the N-word?
Nah.
Damn.
Drake be pushing it sometimes too. Sometimes it's like
Drake don't be saying Drake say it, but he don't say it as much as probably if he would if he was like darker toned.
Yeah, that's true. He don't. I mean, I think he, in my mind, he sings it like this. What's this? Honestly, never mind. If Honestly Nevermind had the N-word in it, it would be like
Honestly Nevermind.
Yeah, like sticky, like to the tune of sticky. I can't say the N-word because you're gonna put this on YouTube. But it's like ninja.
You know how sticky it
gets, ninja.
Oh, okay.
Ninja.
No, that's not Dre's vibe. But yeah, yeah. Okay, so so that was your first and only interracial experience?
No, I dated someone who was Puerto Rican as well.
Are we considering that? Is that interracial? Or Latin?
Maybe it's like intercultural, but they were not a Black Puerto Rican person.
Oh, they were not. They were like, okay. Or they wanted like, no, I'm no black.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, because the person that comes to mind when I think of like not Afro Latino but still be saying the N-word is J-Lo. And it's like, Latino people, they cannot look Afro Latina and still claim to be. So I don't know.
I guess we need to bring that up at the next board meeting. We finally need to address it. And me growing up, there was Asians who were saying it too. Like where I'm from in Florida, St. Pete, there's a large population of like Southeast Asians. So a lot of like Vietnamese, Laos, pretty much the Black people of Asia. And they be saying it, boy. They be amongst themselves and everything like that. And you be like,
You didn't earn this word. You ain't have to fight.
Yeah, you ain't have to fight for it. They get to turn it off. I bet they don't say that when they leave.
Yeah, you ain't saying that. If you don't say it in your country of origin, then I feel like it's not for you. Because African American people, their country of origin is America, and so the word started here. It exists here. If you're not saying it in your country of origin,
that's true.
If your ancestors were never called it as a slur, nah, it ain't for you, my boy.
Yeah, girl.
Let it go.
Okay, fair enough. Nice.
And if you have or a quarter, you can only say it around non-mixed company. Because if if you looking like Drake's son, you go out with your homeboys,
like your boy, like what's Ryan Davis's Austin. Yeah, he's passing. He's very, very passing.
Yes, if you passing out here, you gotta only say it around other black people and only other black people. If you say in mixed company,
nah, it's no bueno. No bueno. So they gonna think, I can say it too.
Yeah,
he looks like me.
You making them comfortable, and then if you got to fight, you on your own. Don't call NAACP to come help you out.
We're gonna send Rachel.
Yeah, we're gonna send Rachel for you.
Mm-hmm.
We good?
Yeah, we good.
Okay. So back to the topic of interracial dating. Where do you stand with it at? Where do you stand with it now? Would you interracially date?
Well, now no, because I'm in a relationship right now. But like it's if they say like if I were single still at this point in time.
Yes, babe. It's a hypothetical.
I wouldn't be opposed to it, but it would. I wouldn't be opposed to it. Let me just say that. Like I'm open. You know what I'm saying? I'll just be going for a specific type of woman, and then however that comes to me, whether that be a white girl or a Latina girl or Asian girl, I'll take it. So I would say yes.
Okay. I would say
I would have a preference though, but
what would your preference be?
I prefer black and then color and then everything else.
Brandon's hierarchy: black, colored, everything else.
Black of color and then everything else.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I would say that I'm probably in the same space. I definitely, again, black men are my preferred. But if I got to a place where I felt like I had exhausted that option and I wanted to still consider, companionship, building a family, then I would be open to dating people of color first. Mm. I don't think I could do a white man though. Shade.
It's different. Yeah, that's why I felt like seriously dating a white girl. I'm like, I could do it, I guess, but like, it would depend on how much explaining I got to do. Because there's some white people who grew up in the hood right next to us who grew up with the experience. So they at the very least they witness. They know the history. They know what it is. So I ain't got to explain too much about it. And they know what my stances are and stuff like that. So like, there's some white people who can do it. But I'm thinking like the waspy whites, the ones who have no point of reference. No, like they own that. Like, why didn't they just like stop? Why did they run? Like my nigga.
I would never want to have to code switch in my relationship. To feel like I couldn't like speak freely, say what I needed to say what I wanted to say.
And I want to be able to say N-word without feeling like guilty that like I'm
excluding you from it. Yeah. You can't say nothing back to me.
Yeah. Like, no. And I'm not into race play, so that's not it. If you don't know what that is, look it up. I'm not going to explain that.
You sure you're not into it?
No. I'm pretty sure I'm not.
Okay. I'm not into it either. You got anything else?
No.
Me neither.
Yeah, I feel like this was a good 30 minutes or so of talking about interracial dating and stuff like that. So I'm good. Interracial dating is not neither good or bad. It just is. Mm-hmm. I think it just matters the person that you're dating. Like it shouldn't the race of the person shouldn't be the primary or the main thing within the relationship. It's just like he or she, like they're awesome. They just happen to be insert ethnicity here.
But I guess hearing you say that makes me think about also the intention behind the reason why you're pursuing that person, right? I guess you're saying like it should just matter the person. It shouldn't matter their race. Mm-hmm. But I think that if you are intentionally seeking out a person of a specific, then you run into an issue because you got something else going on. You have something that you've internalized. Like I said, like your child brain, this made logical sense. Like there was a reason where it was like, if you're a man, my mama was this, right? She acted this way. She was always acting a fool. I don't want a woman who will be like that. And so I'm not going to date I'm going to X out all black women because I think all black women will be that way. And I'm only going to pursue women of other races. Mm-hmm. If you got that going on, you need to settle that within yourself before you date anyone.
That's right.
Because you can still attract the same type of woman with the same type of behaviors and mindsets as your mom. She just looks different. And so you think it's going to be better, or you think that it is better or more acceptable. Yeah. And that's not true. And so I agree with you that interracial dating is neither good nor bad. It just is what it is. But if there is an intention behind pursuing someone of another race, and that intention is based off of some type of trauma or some type of hate, self-hate or other hate, then you should probably do some work to evaluate what you got going on before you date anyone, let alone someone of this other race. Because you could find yourself in the situation where
everybody get dirty. The divorces ain't only in black communities. Right. Everybody get this work. This trifling ass people in every race, in every gender, every ethnicity, culture, whatever the fuck you want to insert as a qualifier. Mm-hmm. They got them for you. So yeah, I agree with you. If you are disqualifying people just off of an experience that you had, that's an issue. You can disqualify people based off of like personality traits or something like that. So like for your example, if you grew up and you don't like how your mom was behaving with men in life and how she treated you, then if you were like, well, I don't want women who act like her. Mm-hmm. Well, whatever that may look like, then okay, I get it. But if you just be on something like, I'm just Xing out black woman, or I'm just Xing out white women, or I'm Xing out Asian women because I don't like how my mom like put all this pressure on me, so I don't want none of that shit. Whatever it is, that may be an issue. But if you just like, hey, I just want a woman who's bum, and then whoever meets those qualifications, whatever skin color or tone or whatever it is that it looks like, cool, like rock with it.
Yeah. That was your final food for thought, wasn't it?
That was
I knew it. I knew it. All right. My final food for thought, since Brandon already dropped his, is that interracial dating, again, is neither good nor bad, but it should be based on your desire to be with a partner who's well suited for you, and an acceptance that partner can come in any package. And so if you don't want to silo yourself, right? Like, you can have a preference, which we both have stated that we have a preference, but you don't want to silo yourself off and find yourself in a situation where you can't get the things that you desire because you are limiting your options. And you want to make sure that the intention is to find the person that is best suited to be a partner to you, and that person can come in any kind of package.
If the only thing that's keeping you from wanting to pull the trigger on this relationship or this marriage is because they white or they black or they Asian, do you really care about being together with anybody? If the only thing holding you back is the skin color, right? That's just me. That's just me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, also be prepared for whatever comes with that.
Yeah, that's true.
Understand that it is going to come with some things, whether that be the opinions of other people, whether that be having,
especially if you're black, boy,
to navigate and negotiate, what cultural norms you all want to set and establish for your family moving forward, having to deal with the other person's family and, whatever their opinions are. It's going to come with some stuff, but that stuff that it's going to come with isn't, well, I would assume that it is not so bad that it negates the positive. I would hope so. Yeah, the positive outcomes that are possible in your relationship.
Yeah, if your if your family is very like, hey, we want you to see you with somebody that look like us, and you go against the grain, I would hope that person that you're going with is so fired that that the benefits of keeping messing with them outweighs the dissatisfaction or the disapproval from like your family. I hope. As it. All right, we good, babe? Mm-hmm. All right, y'all. Well, we appreciate y'all tuning in for another episode of the Buffet Podcast with Brandan and Ciandra. And just to let y'all know, we always dropping Mondays at noon.
Mm-hmm. Wherever you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play. You can subscribe, listen, and rate.
Please
tell
do.
Your friend,
tell
your
everybody.
cousin,
tell everybody.
Them.
They ain't got to be related. Just tell people. Tell people that you talk to.
Everybody.
Every time a podcast is brought up in conversation, our name need to be coming out your mouth. What is you talking about?
Yeah. And you could also watch us on YouTube. We're on YouTube every Wednesday. So you can also go there to listen, subscribe, and click the notification button so you'll know when we're about to drop a new episode.
Fuck with us.
Yeah.
Come eat with us.
Yeah. Thank y'all for listening, learning, and laughing with us. We'll see y'all next time.
Peace.